Welcome to The Walkthrough with 5 Star Preps, the ultimate weekly live show that dives deep into the heart of high school football right here in East Tennessee. Powered by Triple F Training. Train like a pro. Each week, Jesse Smithy and the 5 Star Prep team takes you beyond the gridiron and into the stories that define Fall Friday nights in the hills of the Great Smoky Mountains. From the thrilling touchdowns to the hard-hitting tackles and the unsung heroes who make every game unforgettable, we've got it all covered. Join Jesse Smithy as he breaks down this week's biggest games, highlights the standout performances, and gives you the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee. Now, catch us live on The Walkthrough, presented by Triple F Training.
Welcome in, everybody. It's the Playoff War Room Show live here at Triple F. I'm going to be your host tonight, Jesse Smithy of 5 Star Preps. Welcome to the show. If you've followed us on social media for years and years, you know we do this each and every week 11 of the high school football season, and it's become a tradition, and we love to do. We'll have a really cool pregame show to bring to you tonight, starting right now, running to about 6:30, 6:45. We're going to have guests stop by and talk to us about recruiting, about the playoffs. So much to get to on tonight's show. We're going to talk about some of last night's games. We had a huge selection of games here in East Tennessee and really around the state on Thursday night. And of course, some monumental matchups here on Friday night in Week 11. Region championships up for grabs, playoff spots up for grabs. But before we get into any of that, want to make sure you're stopping by Triple F right out here off Pellissippi. Easy to find, easy to get to. I live out in around West Knoxville, Cedar Bluff area. It only takes me about 10 minutes to get here. Unbelievable facility. We've been broadcasting our walkthrough show here all season long, and hopefully you've been able to see that. Turf area weights, they have Bible studies for kids. So much scientific data that goes into how they prepare and train their athletes. If you have a young lady or a young man in your house that's an athlete, make sure you're bringing them by Triple F. Give it a try, see if you like it. I guarantee you will. And enhance their athletic ability, as well as be a good young man, be a good young lady off the field as well. And that's why we are partnering up with Triple F so much this year and in the years past to continue to shine a spotlight on what they're doing for athletes in the area along with us. So let's get to tonight's show. On the show, we're going to have Brody Smith, offensive lineman from Maryville High School. He'll be coming in just a few moments. We have Justin Long coming in tonight, head football coach at Fulton High School. What a remarkable turnaround they've had in their season. So stick around for those interviews. We got highlights, interviews, so much more on the Playoff War Room Show tonight. But first, let's take a look back to last night's action. Thursday night, an unbelievable amount of games around the state. About 30% it seems like 30% of the schedule played on Thursday night. Loudon at Red Bank was one that we really wanted to keep an eye on. Loudon entered that game undefeated on the year at 9-0, wanted to get an undefeated season, but also that region championship, that one seed that will allow them to have that home field advantage for a good portion of the playoffs, if not all the way through the state semifinals if they continue to win. Loudon scores a touchdown late from Levi Russell. They're up 18-13 with about 45 seconds left. Red Bank goes all the way down to the other end of the field. They get inside the red zone. 4th down play to win the game. Quarterback rolls out, and Deshaun Reynolds makes a shoestring tackle, gets the guy's foot, knocks him down, tackle for loss, game over. Loudon completes their 10-0 region championship season. They will be a 1 seed in the 4A playoffs. Let's turn the page. Jefferson County at William Blount last night. Jefferson County gets the win 34-14. Another big-time running night for Skylar Thomas. Get this, 40 carries, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns. They've been riding him all year. He set a single-season program record at Jefferson County with 2,050 yards in the regular season. They've had a number of great running backs through the years, Jeff Jennings, Scooter Houston, and Chris Shiverdecker. And so now at the top of that list is Skylar Thomas, an unbelievable performance last night. Gibbs and Fulton was the TV game. It was a huge Region 2 4A showdown. We've talked about Gibbs all season long on this program and on 5 Star Preps as they had gotten off to an 8-0 start, their best start in school history. Then they lose that game in Week 10 to Anderson County and got blown out. And so we didn't know how they would bounce back in this Week 11 showdown with Fulton last night. Would they be in a slumber? Would they come prepared and focused to lock up that 2 seed and get that home playoff game? Well, the latter happened. That's exactly what they did. Jumped out to a big lead over Fulton in the first half. Defense played well. Brady Hughes ran the ball 35 times for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. And so Gibbs gets the win. They get the 2 seed. And so they're looking at their opponent. I think they play Cherokee, and Fulton will play the loser of tonight's Greenville-Elizabethton game. Fulton will have to go on the road. We'll talk with Justin Long, the head football coach at Fulton, about that in just a few moments. And then finally, probably the game of the night was Maryville and Farragut. Farragut jumped out to a 21-0 lead, riding that confidence wave that they got from winning their last 4 games. And Maryville tried to kick a field goal there late in the first half, wasn't able to get that. That was a 44-yard attempt. And then after the break, Maryville football played Maryville football. 28 consecutive points in the second half. Price Davis, 2 touchdowns. Will Jones, 2 touchdowns passing. And Maryville gets that win, 28-21. Now joined by Brody Smith. And Brody, you were there. You lived through that game, and you walk into your father's facility out here at Triple F, and I hear people picking your brain about what happened last night. I didn't know if I'd be talking to you because I was like, man, if they lose this game, Brody may not come to do the show. But first off, how were y'all able to bounce back in that second half?
Honestly, just some of us older guys, we had to step up. We had to get the team going. We didn't really come in the game with a great mindset, and we weren't really ready, prepared, because it's 6A football. I mean, you can win it. I mean, you win or lose at any time. Every team's good. So honestly, at halftime, we just had to get the team together, get everybody's head straight, and we came back out and did our thing. Yeah,
as I'm editing our story last night and putting it on 5 Star Preps, and Derek Hunt, the head football coach at Maryville, was like, we didn't really have to say anything as head coaches. Is that true? It was all like seniors and kind of getting after some people?
Yes, sir. It was just a group of me and other dudes. We got in the middle. The whole team surrounded us, and we were just talking, just like, come on, like, we can't do this. Like, we were supposed to come out here, and it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like, we got to turn it around. We're not going to end the season like this. And obviously we did.
Well, I want to ask you about that because go all the way back to the preseason. I covered y'all's scrimmage, I think, at Oak Ridge. And you're new to the program relatively. I mean, you hadn't played a varsity game with Maryville just yet. And you spoke up at the end of the scrimmage. I don't even know if you remember this, but I was like, man, Brody's already putting himself in position to be a leader, even though he didn't come from the Maryville fabric. Why is it important for you to speak up and be a leader?
Honestly, I just think a lot of the younger guys, they kind of look at me and kind of just like want to do things off of what I do. Same thing for our right tackle, Alex Boyd. He's another huge leader on the team. They just kind of look at us and the older guys, and they're like, they want to replicate what we do. So just when we say stuff, they really take it to heart. So we try to make sure as much as possible that we say good things to kind of put it in their head so that the whole team will do it.
At halftime, there's so many people that give a rah-rah speech or say we got to do this better. It doesn't always happen, though, on the field. X's and O's wise or strategy wise, what did y'all do different to start to execute in that second half to be able to score 28 points after the break and win?
So at first, they were bringing a bunch of guys in the box, and we were trying to run the ball, but we didn't have enough guys in our box to block everybody. So we started putting more guys in the box for the run, and if they would bring everybody down still, we started taking the top off. We had a bunch of long throws for 40-plus yards because they would bring so many guys down, and we could beat them over the top.
Maryville has a certain standard, certain expectation of excellence in state championships. Winning that game and going ahead and completing the season 9-1, I know the lost Alcoa was tough, but just to make sure you're going into the playoffs and the right mindset and on a winning note, how important was that?
So important. I mean, honestly, momentum's a huge thing in football. I mean, as everybody knows, I mean, the first game when we lost, it really took it to heart because we weren't supposed to lose that game, and, that's our rivals. And then the second game, if we would have lost that, our momentum and just morale would just be down a lot. So I think it's really good that we ended up coming out with a W because it was a confidence boost. And we're like, yeah, it wasn't just a fluke. Earlier in the season, we are Maryville, and we got to keep this rolling.
What can you describe, and I'm not by any means trying to get you to talk negatively about places you've been before, but can you describe what it's like at Maryville? Any differences you noticed or things that was like, wow, this is what Maryville's really about?
The thing that separates Maryville from every other school is the culture. Their culture program, like, it's different. Like, nothing can touch it. They do stuff how they do it, and it doesn't matter who you are or what happens, they will not change it. And it's obviously worked over the years.
Yeah, for sure. And I know coaches like to look at the game ahead. They don't like to look around or look at 2 weeks down the road or whatever. But when I look out into 6A and I say, oh, Oakland lost or this team lost, do you guys feel like 6A is kind of up for grabs this year?
Coach has said it so many times at practice. He's like, y'all, we're in the conversation. There's a bunch of conversation going around, and no one has any clue who's going to win because 6A is up for grabs right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be an exciting postseason. Probably one of the more intriguing brackets that we're going to look at later tonight. And later tonight on this program, we will unveil the pairings across the area for a 5-Star Preps team. So you'll make sure you want to stick around for that. Halftime, we're going to have halftime reports, and then post-game, once all the games go final on Friday night tonight, we're going to come back live right here on Twitter, on YouTube, Facebook, and give you all the playoff pairings before you find them anywhere else. We'll be updating that throughout the night in our playoff war room. And Brody, I know before we kind of let you go, you got a recruiting trip coming up to Clemson. You've been making other trips as well. And what's this process been like for you recruiting wise, and kind of where are you in all of it?
Honestly, it's just been a great experience. I'm so happy that I've been blessed enough to go through it. I've kind of narrowed it down to the school. I know which schools I really like, and I'm not really going to give out any hints yet, but if you know, you know.
Yeah, I got you. But, I mean, Clemson, you're going there this weekend. You were going to go earlier in the season, but the hurricane and everything that kind of happened kind of derailed that. What do you look for when you go to a school?
My number one thing is how well can the team develop me? You know, how good is their O-line coach? Can he help me get to the league? Another thing is, it doesn't have. I wouldn't say like, oh, it has to be close to home. It better not be like crazy close. But like, I wouldn't go anywhere that's like crazy far, like all the way on the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
to have your dad have gone through the process in college football recruiting, to have played in the NFL, how has that been how has he been a mentor for you through all this?
honestly, he's really helped me keep my mind off all like the chitter chatter and all the like flashy stuff about it. And I really just want to play football. You know what I mean? Like my main goal is to play football in the NFL. I don't want to put all my attention on like recruiting and like pictures and stuff. Because if I do that, I feel like it'll take away from my game. So I try to stay focused on football as much as possible.
Growing up the child of an NFL player, now former NFL player, and he had such an unbelievable career in the NFL, at what point or what age did you go, I want to do what my dad did?
I would say about the age of 13.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, I didn't play football. My dad actually wouldn't let me. He didn't want me to start too young and then kind of get tired of it as I got older. So I played baseball, and I was like, I want to be a pitcher in the MLB. But started playing football, and I was like, yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
I want to play football.
You walk in this Triple F facility, you see Falcons logos, Bills logos, Raiders logos, all these teams that your father, Lee Smith, played for. What are one or two vivid memories that you have of just being around NFL games or NFL players?
I'll never forget it. I think they were in training camp, and I would always, it was when he was with the Raiders, and I'd always go over to Marshawn's locker and just sit there and talk to him as long as I could. I felt like I was looking at like a immortal person. Like, it was crazy just to be around somebody like that. And another huge memory is, we thought it was going to be his last game in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure it was the AFC Championship, and they lost. And it was just like super sad. But he ended up playing another year, but I'll always remember that moment.
Yeah. Well, Brody, man, thanks for coming down.
Yes,
thanks
sir.
for joining the program tonight. And that's Brody Smith, offensive lineman from Maryville High School, and definitely interested in what's coming up for his career in recruiting. As he said, he's got that recruiting trip to Clemson coming up very soon. I know Tennessee is in on him pretty strong as well. All right, tonight we're going to catch our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the bigger games to watch this Friday night, look at some highlights. We got interviews coming and much, much more right here on the Playoff War Room from Triple F.
Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back in to the Playoff War Room live here at Triple F. And I just got done talking with Brody Smith, offensive lineman from Maryville. If you missed that interview, we're going to have it pinned up on social media. You can go back and watch it anytime you want to. It'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and everything tonight. All right, let's welcome you back in here. We're going to look at some key games for this Friday night. And it's funny, with so many of the games that were played Thursday night, we already know some of the matchups. Looking ahead at 6A, you got William Blount playing at Maryville, two Blount County teams just 3 miles away probably as the crow flies, playing in the first round next week. You got Jefferson County playing at Bearden in the first round next week. That's a fantastic matchup. You got Tennessee offensive line commit Nick Moore. You got Skylar Thomas, who we told you about in the first segment, 2,000-yard rusher for Jefferson County, playing at Bearden in the first round. Bearden will be a 2 seed. So we'll tell you all the matchups later on tonight. Right around 10:15, when the games go final, we'll hit live and we'll be sitting here. We'll be breaking down all of the matchups for round one. Lee Smith, owner of Triple F, will be joining us later in the night to talk about those matchups and talk about what they got going on here as well. But as I mentioned, some really key ball games that we need to watch tonight. We'll be monitoring these throughout the night. Come back at halftime, give you an update, because they are so critical to the playoff outlooks of many area teams. Dobbins Bennett at Science Hill. You're saying, Jesse, why are we talking about a football game, two teams that aren't even from the five-star preps area? And I'll tell you why. The reason we're talking about this game and monitoring this game, the winner of this Science Hill Dobbins Bennett game will be the 1 seed out of Region 1-6A. And so they will get the 4 seed from Region 2, and that is Farragut. And you do not want to see Farragut right now. I can guarantee you that. Just ask Maryville. Farragut has won his last 4 games going into that matchup last night against Maryville. They led 21-0 in that game and only lost 28-21. They were able to drive in the final minutes of that contest, get inside the red zone, just weren't able to put on that score there late in the game. So Farragut playing its best football of this year. Do not judge them by that 4-6 record. So I can guarantee you Science Hill or Dobbins Bennett will not want to face Farragut in the first round. The loser of Dobbins Bennett Science Hill will get Cleveland on the road. Cleveland will have to go on the road up to Dobbins Bennett Science Hill. Science Hill is projected to win that game, so we're likely seeing a Farragut at Science Hill matchup, but nevertheless, we'll watch that game throughout the night. Grace Christian at Boyd Buchanan. What a story Grace Christian has been this year. They started off 8-0, lost to Silverdale on the road handily. This is still for the region championship, though. They can grab a piece of that if they knock off Boyd Buchanan. But I'm going to tell you what, this is one of Gary Rankin's better Boyd Buchanan teams. Absolutely loaded. It's going to be a very difficult game for Grace Christian to go on the road and win. Nevertheless, we will monitor that. If they lose tonight, Grace Christian will drop down to a 3 seed, I believe. But as we told you before, they will still host a first-round playoff game next week, even if they are the 3 seed. Moving along, the Battle of Black Oak Ridge tonight. Central at Halls. The winner, I believe, gets the 3 seed and will play at 2 seed Morristown West. That is a winnable game as a 3 seed. So keep an eye on this Central at Halls matchup tonight. I know Halls very much wants to make amends for their first-round exit a year ago. They had such an unbelievable season and then kind of fell flat right there in the playoffs. So Halls wants to win this game, be that 3 seed, and go on the road and try to knock off Morristown West. The loser of this game, though, will have to go to Sevier County, a 1 seed, which is probably going to have its second 10-0 season in program history in its 100th year of football. And they have an unbelievable quarterback in Cooper Newman to just had a great season as a sophomore. So you probably don't want to see Sevier County. You want to win that matchup tonight if you're Central. And so we'll keep an eye on that big rivalry game up in North Knoxville. West at Powell might be the marquee game of the night here in Knox County. These two rivals have faced off so many times over the last 6 years, whether it's a state semifinal game, a state quarterfinal game, regular season region championship, and that is what tonight is, a regular season championship in Region 2-5A, I believe, and West won that game by 1 point in overtime in the regular season last year, and then absolutely walloped Powell in a rain-soaked night in the playoffs last year. So Powell has dropped its last 3 contests to West High School, but you look at the tail of the tape in this game, Powell has had the more explosive quarterback play with Deuce Rogers. Their defense has been equally as impressive as West has this year. You got Connor Wheeler there at tailback. They're very, very solid in the kicking game this year at Powell in all phases. So if I had to lean one way, we're not really doing a pick segment tonight, but I think I picked Powell to win that football game. But winner gets the 1 seed and will face either Tennessee High or Davy Crockett in the first round of the playoffs. Regardless, whoever loses that game will still get to host a first round playoff game, West being the 2-time defending state champion. Keep that in mind. And then the final big game of the night, Elizabethton at Greenville. Now this matchup doesn't have the statewide buzz that it normally does. Both teams have a couple of losses. Greenville, one of its losses was due to playing an ineligible player, so really just have that one loss to Alcoa. But the winner gets the region championship. They get the 1 seed and will face, I think they'll face Carter, the 4 seed out of Region 2. And the loser of Greenville, Elizabethton, will play host to Fulton. So that's a big matchup tonight. Carson Quillen, running back at Greenville, is a Mr. Football candidate hopeful. Having a big game tonight against your arch rival and arch nemesis will definitely go a long way in helping Carson Quillen do that. And so keep an eye out on that game. All right, we're going to go to break. Before that, though, we're going to take you back to Week 10. Monumental game between Oliver Springs and Coalfield. Great environment, great drama. Check out those highlights and much, much more to come. When we come back from break, we'll have Justin Long, head football coach at Fulton. Stay with us.
Is brought to you by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back into the Playoff War Room Show presented by Triple F. I'm Jesse Smithy, joined by Justin Long, head football coach at Fulton High School. And Justin, big news earlier this week, Tyreek King committed to Tennessee. It's a pretty special wide receiver. I was just wondering what your thoughts on him if you've gotten a chance to see him.
He's explosive. Can take any play to the house at any time. He had a hitch route against Brentwood Academy. Nobody's going to catch him on that play.
Yeah, and I've tried to tell people, like, what it is about him that makes him special. And I remember seeing him as a middle schooler and then coming into high school. And I don't know that just his body bend, his explosiveness, the speed, the vision, the catching ability, and then I saw him this past summer at the 7-on-7 thing that they did with Josh Heupel over there at the intramural fields on Sutherland. And it didn't matter what school from what state, nobody could stop the dude. Right, yeah. I mean, it was just unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he can do it all. I haven't seen a route that he can't run on a route tree, and they definitely do a great job of giving it to him.
Yep. So that was big news earlier this week as Tyreek King, wide receiver at Catholic High School, committed to the Tennessee Vols. But I didn't bring you here to talk about Tyreek King or the Vols. I want to talk about Fulton football. And I know last night did not go as planned for Fulton versus Gibbs, but on the whole, what do you like about your football team going into this postseason?
Yeah, I just like our resiliency. I think we're a group that just works hard. I think we just show up. We try not to play the scoreboard. We try to play the next play. We try to make it about each other. And we talk about blocking and tackling. And honestly, that's been what our program has been bent on this year, being great tacklers, being great blockers. Going
into that game last night against Gibbs, y'all were on such a roll.
Yeah.
What had been going right that did not go right in that game?
Yeah, I think our response, I wasn't particularly happy with the way we responded last night, but, credit to Gibbs and Coach Turner, and they had a great plan. They executed their plan. I thought they got after us. But I think before the Gibbs game, I think our guys just kept playing. I think they stayed together, they stayed connected, and I think we're going to need a lot of that moving forward.
The story I tell the most, and this makes me seem really old, is to teams that maybe lose a game or lose two games going into the playoffs, you never know what can happen. That Livingston Academy team from 2005, I'll never forget. This is back when the state championships were at MTSU. We were walking in to cover the game after theirs. They were 5-5 in the regular season, and they ended up winning a 3A state championship that year. You have pieces, whether it's Albert Johnson at running back or Derek Smith at wide receiver, that allow you guys to be a threat to anybody.
Yeah.
Tell me about those guys and maybe some other players on the teams that have really been valuable members.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll start with Al. One thing I've been proud of is just his leadership. A lot of people talk about the big plays. They talk about the rushing yards. And he's been able to do that a lot for us. But, man, he's really been trying to be a great leader off the field. He's been trying to hold guys accountable. He's been trying to make sure the program is left in good hands. And I appreciate that with him. And he's a tough physical kid. Derek, same. He's been a part of 2 state championships with Coach Jody Wright. So he understands what it means to be pushed and to be tough and to have expectations. And those guys have been model guys for Fulton football, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Javon Moden, I think he surprised some people this year, being a 1,000-yard passer and throwing touchdowns. But our offensive line has really impressed me. 5 guys, but I think they've been one unit. And I think the mindset for them is just keep getting better and keep trying to provide opportunities for Javon and Al and Derek to be successful.
You were a quarterback at Fulton. I think I started at the News Sentinel back in 2002, and that's right around peak Justin Long quarterback era at Fulton High School. You go on to be a longtime assistant coach at Fulton High School. You take over the program as head coach. What does running this program mean to you in this school?
Yeah, just grateful. It means a lot to me to be the guy in control, because I understand that the tradition that comes along with Fulton football, from all the way back to Steve Brewer, to Buck Coatney, to Rob Black and to Bob Black as well, and what Fulton means to them and what Fulton means to me as well. So just trying to carry on the legacy, and I think our guys have to understand where they are, and the guys that have put in work before them to make Fulton a special place. We say tradition never graduates. The names and the faces and the jersey numbers may change, but the expectation stays the same. And nothing easy. Nothing happens overnight. We were feeling real good about ourselves, and then Gibbs comes and hits us in the mouth. And one thing I can say about Gibbs is they responded from adversity a few weeks ago against Anderson County. Now it's our turn too.
You in the building, you have Jody Wright, you have Rob Black, two administrators that know what Fulton football can mean to their school and their community. To have their support and them be there, how much was that a factor in you coming back?
Oh, tremendous, 100%. They're mainstays in the state of Tennessee. They're mainstays in Knoxville. So having those guys and having a veteran experience, to be able to lean on when I need help on anything, and having their support, and for them to have the confidence to say, we want Justin Long to run our program means a lot. And those guys are winners. They've won at the highest level. Coach Wright, I think he's been to the state championship game 10 times, and Coach Black has won 3 state championships himself, and had nationally ranked teams. So, success leaves clues, and I'm just blessed to be around those guys.
Whenever this season ends, whether it's 2 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now, what have you, what is the next building block? What's the next step for Fulton football? Because I love it when Fulton football has filled up stands and the community's abuzz. I mean, it's just a special place when that's happening. How do we get Fulton back there? Yeah,
we got to make sure that we provide our guys with the best we can give them. Whether that be in the weight room, whether that be, gear, whether that be the support that we get from administration top down. We got to give them the best. And people have to understand that, we want to make Fulton attractive in every way, to coaches, to kids, to families, and we want to try to provide them with the best. The people that are successful in our area have that top-down effect where everybody is rowing in the same direction, from administration, athletic director. Everybody wants the same thing because they understand that football can be a huge, success thing for your school. So we just want to try to give our guys the best and make sure that people know that, football can be your front porch.
I love what you guys do on social media. You're paying homage to the past. You're rewarding the kids that are playing for you now. And you had a pretty special guest stop by and from the Cleveland Browns the other day as well, right?
Yeah. Mr. Jimmy Haslam stopped by to hang out with us, and that was huge because you think about it. I'm sure his schedule was pretty filled up, and he took 30, 40 minutes out of his time to hang out with the Falcons, and it meant a lot. And he shared a great word with us. And I think he went on to have dinner with his dad afterwards. So, man, what an honor to have him with us.
Yep. Well, speaking of being an honor to have him with y'all, it's been an honor to have you here on the show tonight. Before we let you go, though, one of the things we're going to talk about after the break is the advent of girls flag football in the greater Knoxville area. Many Knox County programs are starting that up. Have you seen that at Fulton, and have you been a mentor to them at all?
I haven't been a mentor, but it's been cool with how many girls that have stopped me in the hallway and say, "Are you the person I talked to about flag football?" So it's been cool, but a lot of interest, man. A lot of interest at Fulton, which I was hoping it would be that way. And we seem to have a lot of young ladies that are excited to get after it. So I think it'll be fun. I'm excited to go watch a few games if I'm able to, but. I think Fulton flag football, I think it should be fun to watch.
All right, Justin, thanks for stopping by Triple F
man.
tonight. That's Justin Long, head football coach at Fulton High School. He'll have an interested eye in that Greenville-Elizabethton game tonight. Fulton will take on the loser of that game in round 1 next Friday night, November 8th. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, a lot more to get to here on the Playoff War Room pregame show right here at Triple F.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back in. Final segment of the Playoff War Room pregame show. Remind you, we're going to be back at halftime for halftime updates for some of these big-time matchups that we were watching here in Week 11. And then when the games go final tonight, Week 11, we're going to go live right here on this social media platform again, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and we're going to give you all the playoff pairings from around the area, not the entire state, because there'll still be games going on in the central time zone, but right around 10:15-ish, we're going to go live and give you all those playoff matchups before anybody else. Be tracking and monitoring games all night, checking off what happens in this or that possibility, and narrow it down and weed it out for you. And so welcome back in. Come back in later on tonight and check that out. Speaking of those games we're going to be watching, Dobbins-Bennett at Science Hill. Reminder, 1 seed is up for grabs. Loser will have to get Cleveland. The winner, the 1 seed, will have to play Farragut, the 4 seed. Grace Christian at Boyd Buchanan, that's a region championship game. Central at Halls for the 3 seed tonight out of their region. The winner will get the 3 seed and play at Morristown West. That's a winnable game for either Central at Halls. The loser will have to go to Sevier County. West and Powell, unbelievable region championship matchup tonight. 5-Star Preps will have that covered. Photos, videos, stories galore, and just a great Knox County matchup. I think the past 3 5A state champions in this matchup. West has won the last 2. Powell won it back in 2021. The winner gets a 1 seed and will face Tennessee High or Davy Crockett in round 1. Then finally, Elizabethton at Greenville, the final big-time game we're going to be watching tonight. Winner gets the 1 seed and will face Carter in the first round, and the loser will host Fulton. And what a great matchup that would be. Fulton at Elizabethton or Fulton at Greenville. We expect Greenville to win that game, get the 1 seed, so anticipating a Fulton at Elizabethton matchup, and that's a winnable game for Fulton as well. So also this coming week, the first round of the playoff, right around Thursday, we should get the semifinalists for Mr. Football 2024. We'll have voters meeting next week, early part of next week, and then they should announce the semifinalists. Remember, they do 5 semifinalists in each class the first week in November, and then a couple of weeks later, they will narrow it down to the finalists in each classification. So that first round of semifinalists will be next week. We talked with Justin Long before he left about girls flag football in Knox County, and that's something that's coming up very, very shortly. The season begins November 11th. And just talking with some people around Knox County, because I'm curious about it, we may end up streaming some of these games on our social media if the product, warrants that. We're going to go out and watch a few and kind of see what it's like. But they're doing an interesting way of doing it. They are doing kind of like satellite hosting, where they'll have a hub of 3 games here, 3 games there. So November 11th, Austin East will host 3 games starting at 5 o'clock, Austin East versus Bearden. And you got Bearden and Austin East playing games at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock as well. Central will host Carter and Farragut. You got Gibbs playing Halls, and Fulton's kind of round robin-ish. So it's not like where you go to a high school football game and you sit there for 2 or 3 hours. It's going to be 1 hour, and then they'll rotate. They'll play the next team, and then vice versa. So it's going to be a cool product to see, and we're going to try to have some flag football coaches out on the walkthrough leading up to this to learn a little bit more about it, what we can anticipate, how they've gone about going and getting their athletes, and how they've taught them football. I'm sure there's some girls that know football well and some that may be new to the sport, but definitely have that coming down the pike. So there will be games November 11th, the 18th, the 25th, December 2nd, and then the season will wrap up December 9th, at least for the regular season. I don't know if there's a postseason or not. That's something we'll learn as we get more and more coaches on the show, but definitely just want to make you aware of that going forward. So again, check back with us tonight at halftime. We're going to have updates here live and our 5-Star Preps War Room post-game show where we unveil the playoff brackets for the 2024 postseason right here at Triple F. We'll be joined by Lee Smith former NFL player, the owner and proprietor of Triple F. He'll be joining us on the post-game show tonight. So stick with us throughout the night as we bring you all you need to know about high school football here in East Tennessee. I'm Jesse Smithy. We'll see you here in a little bit.
Welcome to the Walkthrough with 5 Star Preps, the ultimate weekly live show that dives deep into the heart of high school football right here in East Tennessee. Powered by Triple F Training. Train like a pro. Each week, Jesse Smithy and the 5 Star Prep team takes you beyond the gridiron and into the stories that define Fall Friday nights in the hills of the Great Smoky Mountains. From the thrilling touchdowns to the hard-hitting tackles and the unsung heroes who make every game unforgettable, we've got it all covered. Join Jesse Smithy as he breaks down this week's biggest games, highlights the standout performances, and gives you the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee. Now, catch us live on The Walkthrough, presented by Triple F Training.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.